It's been so good to be able to watch actual NBA basketball again after what felt like an eternity this summer without it. Obviously, preseason isn't nearly as important as the regular season, and you can only take the product on the court with a grain of salt, but you can still identify some surprises that might translate over to the regular season. This leads us to the topic of today's video, where we'll be going over some of the biggest winners and losers of the preseason, meaning these certain players or teams have done surprisingly well or poor. For me, these things had to be somewhat unexpected, so this isn't simply a list of best performers in the preseason. Additionally, for the people or teams that get labeled as losers in this video, there's obviously still plenty of time for them to improve, and in no way am I saying that because they're on this list, it means they're going to have bad seasons. It just means that things haven't gone very well for them so far in preseason. Now, before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now, with that being said, let's begin. We'll be alternating between the winners and losers, and starting with the first winner on this list, we have a collection of the rookie class. So many rookies have been performing phenomenally in this preseason that I couldn't just single out a few. I had to put them all in one pick. I realize that it's still ridiculously early, and that none of these guys have even played a real game yet, but I seriously believe this class has a chance to be one of the best of the decade. Ja Morant has been making countless high-level plays, and is showing that he was worthy of a top 2 pick. Tyler Hero is quieting all doubters that said he was drafted too high. Guys like RJ Barrett, DeAndre Hunter, Darius Garland, Jarrett Culver, and Rui Hachimura have all been putting up strong numbers. Matisse Thybulle looks like he has a chance to be one of the best defenders in the NBA down the line. Carson Edwards had a ridiculous 8 threes made in a game, and countless other rookies have been playing well as well. The biggest name of all, Zion Williamson, was even looking like a bona fide star. However, something happened to him that actually changed his status for this video. This brings us to the first loser of the list, unfortunately being Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, him landing in this spot has absolutely nothing to do with his play on the court. Through 4 preseason games, he was actually one of the best performers in the entire league, averaging 23.3 points, 6.5 rebounds, and shooting the ball a highly efficient 71.4% from the field. His absolute top-tier athleticism, crafty ball handling ability, sheer strength, and finesse around the basket made for a combo that was difficult to contain for any defender. But one of the biggest concerns about him and his future was that the foundation of his game was built around strength and power that might result in injuries, and as it was just recently reported, he's already suffered a knee injury that will hold him out of the first few weeks of the season. Being only 6'6", while also being the second heaviest player in the NBA and relying heavily on his bounce, is a big risk, and if he wants to salvage a long career, it's looking like he's going to have to shed some pounds and avoid putting so much pressure on his knees. Next up, the second winner on this list is Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers. Ben has been a top caliber player on both ends of the floor from the moment he's played his first game, but the one glaring weakness that everyone has always gotten on him for is his lack of a jump shot. Not only that, but he hadn't even shown a willingness to shoot perimeter jumpers for the majority of his career up to this point. If he's able to add this to his arsenal, then he has potential as high or higher than anyone else in the league, but he's still a long way away from that. However, this preseason, he finally hit his first career three-pointer, which may not be much, but it's at least a start and something that we literally had not seen from him after 2 years. He may not be efficient with it yet, but just being able to hit one from deep every now and then should open up some other parts of his game, and if that continues into the regular season, then good things will come. Now, on to the next loser of this list, we have Russell Westbrook of the Houston Rockets. Admittedly, Westbrook is more than likely nowhere near 100% healthy right now, so while he does land on the losers list because of a few reasons I'll get into, when he fully recovers, things can obviously change. Now, the Rockets are a team that love to shoot threes, which isn't exactly one of Westbrook's strengths. However, when you're open, or even if you're able to create a look for yourself from there, you're going to be encouraged to shoot them on this team, especially when you're a primary ball handler like Westbrook is. There was hope that, knowing this, Westbrook would improve as a shooter, but in preseason so far, he's still only shooting 27% from deep on a pretty high volume. That number is going to need to be higher if the Rockets are going to contend in the West. The good news is that it's just preseason and he's going to have time to continue to get healthier as the season progresses. He's just not having the greatest start to his Rockets career. Now, back to another winner on this list, we have Marquese of the Golden State Warriors. Chris was a top 10 pick 3 years ago in the draft, but to this point, his career had been pretty disappointing. He showed some glimmers of promise on the Suns where he started his career, but was incredibly inconsistent and never really emerged as a regular contributor. Then last year he signed with the Rockets, but even in a system that tends to get the most out of athletic pick-and-roll big men, he still couldn't crack the rotation. Something just wasn't clicking with him to this point, but now this year on the Golden State Warriors, it appears that it's finally clicking for him. Chris has looked like a legitimately good player so far in preseason, working pick and rolls well and finishing very strong at the basket, and giving the team very good minutes. The Warriors have been so impressed with his play that they even cut Alfonso McKinney, who was a regular member of their rotation last year, in order to make room for him on the final roster. It's good to see his career might finally be taking off, so let's hope it continues into the regular season. Next up in the losers column now, we have the Sacramento Kings as a franchise. The team was finally looking like they were heading towards something good, but in the last few days, dysfunction has once again struck. The team gave Harrison Barnes a 4-year, $88 million contract this summer, but with Buddy Hield, who is arguably the best player on the team and definitely their best shooter and scorer, they only offered him $90 million for 4 years. Buddy has been very vocal about not being happy with this offer, and even said that if they don't want him, he would look for a new home next season. Buddy is absolutely vital to the Kings, and if they lose him, then a lot of the progress they've made towards building a playoff contender would go down the drain. I'm hoping they figure things out soon, because this just does not look good at all. Next up, with the final winner on this list, we have Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors. Curry in 2015 and 2016 was putting up historic offensive numbers as the focal point of a historic offense. Then, when Kevin Durant signed in Golden State, he took a slight step back in order to incorporate another superstar into the lineup. Now with KD gone though, he's going to go back to having full free reign to play free without worrying about satisfying another big name, and as a result, Steph has looked incredible in preseason so far. He put up 40 points in just 25 minutes in one of the preseason games, channeling the Steph Curry we saw in 2016, and honestly, we may get treated to a return of that version of him. This year's MVP race is going to be tight as ever, but Curry should definitely be in said race. And lastly, the final loser on this list that we'll discuss in this video is Markelle Fultz of the Orlando Magic. When training camp began, we were shown some promising footage of Fultz taking and making perimeter shots, which is a big deal because he notoriously lost his jump shot completely after he got drafted. However, in 6 preseason games, he's missed all 6 3-point shots he's attempted, and his form still looks as stiff and uncomfortable as it did last season. Whatever it is that was hampering his shoulder last season is still clearly a problem, and there's no telling if it will ever properly heal. I'm not saying that he's played awful in preseason, because he hasn't, and actually made quite a few impressive plays off the dribble attacking the basket, but the missing piece that is his jumper is still missing. It's good that he's back playing and making plays off the bench, but the hope that he becomes the star many thought he could be is looking grim. And with that being said, That's all I have for you today. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below who some of your winners and losers are of the preseason. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.